What's going on, everybody? It's Jeff here. Welcome back to the channel. Happy Memorial Day. For all of those who have served and continue to serve, I thank you from the bottom of my heart. Our country would not be where it is without you guys today. So my appreciation completely goes out to you. Let's get into the video, guys. I want to talk about a couple things in preparation for the dynamite week we are going to have ahead of us. No matter where the price ends up, I can guarantee you there's going to be a lot of action and a lot of volatility. So there's a couple things I want to talk about. One, the share recount. I want to talk a little bit about what exactly it could mean for us and what is likely to play out because of what happens, whatever gets, whatever information is able to get released. Adam Aaron did say that he was going to make this information public. I want to talk a little bit about that and why I think they're exactly doing this share count, as it does cost them money. Okay. Another thing I want to talk about is the increasing amount of options that are set to expire on June 4th. If you haven't seen my last video, okay, please go check it out. It explains what happened to Friday's price movement. I also want to, before just jump in really quickly, right now I am looking at Germany. It's up 11%, which would equal over 30 US dollars right now. But I did want to highlight this while we are on topic. If you did see my last video, all right, this is from Fintel, and it does show the short volume ratio, okay, which was far less than Wednesday and Thursday. However, the price did decrease. So for those of you that are still kind of up in the air, a little bit confused about Friday's price movement, please go check out that video, and it really explains what happens with the market makers when options are set to expire, okay? We're going to talk a little bit about that. And then lastly, I want to talk about what's being passed around the internet, the filing from Citadel Securities, pulling out this $7 billion. Couple things to keep in mind, guys, is by the time that we know this information, it's technically, I don't want to say old news, but it is kind of old data. So this could have happened anytime within the previous weeks. I did go through a bunch of their filings, and there are numerous times that they have pulled this before, and it is to change around liquidity. Now, when we talk about margin calls, guys, our first targets are going to be the easy ones, the step one, step two, step three, all right? Like Archegos, a small hedge fund in comparison to somebody like Citadel, okay? A small hedge fund, that's going to lead the momentum. Those are the ones that we want to start chipping off the block first before we do get to the holy grail, which is Citadel, okay? Now, I do want to talk about this, and this kind of coincides with the share recount, all right? And this is going to be a little bit of a ramble. I'm going to try to, make it clear and concise as possible, but stay with me on this. So, we're talking about the share recount, all right? And we might not be able to get a definitive answer of exactly how many is the exact number of shares. There's talks about international brokers not, in retail investors not able to get their orders fulfilled from international brokers, as well as international brokers not allowing them to vote. So getting that 100% accurate number is not there. However, even if we do get a massive number, this is not the first time in history that a share recount would have over 100% of float. However, this is the first time that I believe in history that there are so many eyes on the manipulation behind it that it's just too much for individuals to turn a blind eye. Think about other things that have happened in, in the country, let's say the past year. I'm not going to name anything specifically, but think about how many times those actions have happened before, whether it be something like, any type of manipulation of power, okay? And it's happened all the time, but the media takes a hold to it, and all of a sudden it's a huge issue, okay, as it should be. That is something that is similar or likely to play out because of what's going on, because of the share recount. It's just going to focus more eyes on this. Now, let me tell you what it's also going to do. All right. It's also going to, help pressure the amount of FOMO. There's a lot of people that have been in AMC, but they've gotten out. Okay. Or they haven't yet gotten in AMC, or they're only in GameStop, or they're not even in any of them, or whatever. Once this thing gets to rip, there's only so much FOMO that people can fight off to where it's like, you know what? I didn't get in at 10. I didn't get in at 14. I didn't even get in at 18. I'm glad I missed out on Friday. I didn't go up and get in at 35. However, when I see this continue to rip and the talk about where it's going, that's only going to add to the price increasing. Now, let me also coincide what I was talking about when it comes to Citadel Securities okay, with the $7 billion, all right, that they have potentially sold off. What is the reason for behind it? One, it could be a simple of taking profits in other plays, cutting losses in other plays. It could be raising liquidity in order to avoid a margin call. Remember what happened, okay, if you guys were around, 2008, 2009, even partially into 2010, some of these monstrous hedge funds did anything they possibly could to avoid a margin call from borrowing from banks as much as they could, which, by the way, guys, if you know anything about the financial system, banks, big banks were already strapped for cash last September, October, November. Okay, shout out to one of the guys in the group, you know who I'm talking about, that had brought that light to my eyes again. They were already strapped for cash and had to borrow from the federal government. They're fighting. Look at the SLR, what happened in May. The amount that they're going to be able to lend out to these hedge funds in order to maintain that liquidity requirement is getting tighter and tighter. So that could be a couple of the reasons. Now, I want to coincide with this with, what are they going to be able to heavily short this stock? And if you jump back over here, guys, to where I was looking at Fintel, and like I said, I know that it's up in the air with, how accurate this is, but it just gives you guys an idea. It shows there's potentially 500,000 shares available. Okay, Ortex was does have their shares on loan increase, I believe, to 132.5 million. All right, so when it does talk about the short shares available, well, are they going to be able to continue shorting this stock? And here's the thing, the more attention that gets brought to this, okay, depending on what happens with the share recount, if it shows that the amount of shareholders has increased, that the chance of there being available shares to shorts, or quote unquote synthetic shorts or naked shorts, whatever they're doing in order to drive this price down, they're going to have a much harder time, because like I said, guys, eventually the market makers, the broker dealers are which I totally believe some of them already have, but eventually it's, as we keep on chipping this block, as that risk just gets higher and higher, they're going to say, listen, you can burn yourself down, okay, or maybe you're bigger than I am, and you can afford a harder loss than this, but I'm not going down with you. Okay, so as far as the what's going to happen with the shorting this week, expect some crazy action on Tuesday. Expect some crazy volatility. All right, there's a lot of attention. I mean, think about, we've had 3 days of media attention, of all of us talking to our friends and family. I mean, think about how many Memorial Day parties everybody was talking about. I mean, restaurants were packed. I mean, the weather up here in Connecticut was pretty crappy, but I know in plenty of other places it was absolutely gorgeous. We're expanding. I've already seen the amount of internet usage and searches for AMC stock has completely increased. You go over to Reddit, the YouTube community, all right, from one YouTuber to another, my views have increased naturally from new people just jumping on. There's going to be a lot of buying coming in on Tuesday. Expect the day traders to jump in as well and play kind of, play some of the rise up and be able to get out of it. Okay, and as far as the shorting, they're going to try to do as much as they can. However, guys, their effect is getting smaller and smaller, as I had showed to you in this video and explained it completely in my last video. So if you haven't, guys, please watch that video. Last thing I want to talk about, all right, is this right here, which shows some of, these are the June 4th calls. Remember, guys, if you're setting up a call like this, the price is 26 and change. Let's say it opens up at 30 bucks. If you're rocketing out some of these $50 calls, or look at this, $59 calls, all right, your only shot is a home run, okay? And like I said, expect on Friday, in order to salvage any type of value in these when you close your positions, the market maker then de-hedges themselves. It's natural for them to do this. They de-hedge themselves, and in return causes the price to go down, because they're selling their securities that they had once purchased in order to hedge themselves. So keep that in mind, guys. Now, don't get me wrong, I have plenty of calls on AMC. They do not expire until January of 2022 and January of 2023. Okay, I have also looked at the premiums for these options, and they have gone up quite a bit. If you're unfamiliar with options, guys, the number one reason why these options have gone up quite a bit is because the implied volatility has gone from 100%, I believe, to somewhere around 250%. percent, it's not, doesn't really mean the likelihood of the AMC hitting that price. If that, you have to look at the delta for that. But if you look at the Vega or the implied volatility, that's why your premiums have gone up so high. So keep that in mind going into Friday. Guys, I'm going to be covering this and holding strong with all of you. All right, I'm excited for Tuesday. Just remember, guys, we have come a long, long way. So that's it for today. Have a couple beers on me, and I'll see you in the next one.